Yeah, so our monthly theme, as you know, is spirituality in action, and today we're focusing on the planet. Last Sunday, we focused on peace, the people. We made our beautiful map. We'll hang it up in Pankey Hall so you can see where we're all from. And but we're all from Mother Earth, aren't we? And without Mother Earth, we don't have much of anything. And yeah, Janet sung that beautiful song. I had that song sung at my ordination. And because it seems to me that there is a moral and ethical responsibility that we take when we wake up. When we wake up to as spiritual beings, as we wake up as spiritual beings who recognize that we're part of the oneness. Not just the one human family, but the oneness of all life. And I have to tell you that for me, one of the things about the science of mind that is most hopeful, heart-filled, and real is the fact that we understand that the physical universe is beautiful. That it is a place where love is expressed. That it is a place where life is fulfilling itself. And that somehow we're a part of that. Science of mind lives in a long history of the growth of philosophical understanding as we began scientifically to understand the idea of evolution and recognizing that evolution and the evolutionary trajectory is true in every area of life. We see it in our children, we see it in our cultures, we see it in life itself, in the process of growth and the way that things evolve. And we see it in our own spiritual understanding that we too are evolving. And yeah, we had the opportunity, as many of you know, to go on this beautiful sailboat that you saw a picture of for 8 days. And we were up in the Great Bear Rainforest in British Columbia, inside the inside passage in the inlets that are in there. In Norway, they would be called fjords. And we were in many places where there just wasn't anybody else but us. One boat, 13 people. And we were in their world. We would float in. They would take us in with the little zodiacs into the estuaries. And when we started to enter into the river, everybody was asked to be quiet. And we would float in, and then we would sit. Sometimes they would tie us up to a log in the middle of the river. Other times we would quietly drift down. Occasionally we would land on the shore, and we would just walk a little bit up into a meadow, and we would wait in silence, almost always in the rain. And we would become part of the landscape. And once we had become part of the landscape, life took up its business again. And the bears would come, and the eagles would fly, and we'd see the sea lions, the salmon would run, and they paid us no mind. They paid us no attention. They went around their business. And for the most part, everything we saw there, their business was beautiful, growing, healthy. The First Nations have really taken on the responsibility of keeping that whole area healthy and free and beautiful. They police themselves. Don't overfish in that bay. You can't take the salmon from that river this year. Watch out for the crab. Make sure you don't take more than this many, so that the ecosystem is sustained and cared for. And I had that deep experience of something that I believe is really true. I remember years ago saying we needed to pray for the planet. Yes, we need to pray for the planet. And I said that for a number of years until all of a sudden I realized one day, you know, the planet is taking care of itself. And I experienced that on these beautiful days. The planet is taking care of itself. We actually need to pray for the people. We actually need to pray for our consciousness. We need to pray about our use of the planet, our misunderstanding of what it means to have dominion. Dominion. You know, there's a wonderful thing that Emerson says. He said, if you want to really, if a man wants to really grow and his spiritual fortitude, he should husband a woodlot. Give him 10 acres and see what he does with it. Husband a woodlot. You know that the original term for the word husband was to care for, protect, nurture, and allow to grow, to prune carefully, thoughtfully, wisely, not to just take down all the trees at once, but to take down those trees that were ready to release their life so that other trees could grow. To care for 10 acres over the course of a lifetime and to see what one does with it was, in Emerson's thought, a way of spiritually growing. And I think we have collectively in the West misunderstood the idea of dominion. When we are raised in a Judeo-Christian culture that says we have dominion, we've been given dominion over the plants and the animals and the land, the earth, the sea, and the sky. And we can learn from the indigenous people and the First Nations and our Native brothers and sisters what it means to husband the land, to nourish it and protect it, to allow it to bring forth that which is appropriate for what it can bring forth, to not take more than is needed, so that it replenishes itself, so that we can experience the blessing of the bounty of the earth. I remember when I first got into Science of Mind, we had Reverend Ike. He was teaching the prosperity gospel, and he was the precursor to Edwin Gaines. And I remember when I first got into Science of Mind that we were having a love affair with the word opulence. People didn't want to just be successful. They didn't want to just have enough. They didn't want to have more than enough. They didn't want to have wealth. Everybody was striving for opulence. And I wondered why. Why do we all need to be opulent? Why can't we just have enough? And the minute I say enough, don't you immediately say, well, that's not enough? We want more than enough, because enough has become to mean barely enough. Right? We don't hear the barely in front of the word enough, but that's what we hear, that's how we feel when we use the word enough. And yet there's a deep and profound relationship with this beautiful planet, this physical creation that we enjoy, that we co-create with, that for a long time I have preferred the word sustainable to opulent. Are our businesses sustainable? Or do we pull out as much money as we possibly can, thereby not just raping our planet, but raping our employees of their health and their well-being? Why is it that sustainability is not as good as opulence? And in New Thought, we can teeter on the edge of the joy of consumerism. Yes, we should have enough, and more than enough. We should be free to have the life that we choose, but does that life require so much that we are not husbanding, caring for the land? The other thing I've noticed recently is that I am on a crusade. Be forewarned. Many of you have already heard this in classes and wherever. I am on a crusade. I would like to ban the words from our vocabulary, especially our New Thought Science of Mind vocabulary. I would like to ban the words convenience and comfort. Because, boy, is it convenient not to carry around our reusable bags. Is it convenient not to worry about the straws that we use? Is it convenient to get all of our takeout in plastic? Is it convenient not to have to wash our dishes? And it's way more comfortable not to have to think about those things because we're free to be wealthy, aren't we? And somewhere in here there's a paradox, isn't there? And don't we know that science of mind and spirituality inevitably resolves itself into a paradox, the paradox that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We are not just spiritual beings transcending this physical plane. We are actually embodied souls. And this is our playground. This is our place of expression. This is our home. And are we caring for it? And are we demanding that others care for it? I've been truthfully inspired by our Swedish sister, Greta, who has been speaking so extraordinarily, a 16-year-old, taking on the governments, the UN. How dare you, she says. How dare you think that you've done enough? And we don't want to be raked over the coals, and we don't want to be told we're not doing it right. We don't want to be blamed, and we don't want to feel like we're victims of what other people are doing. And to do all of that, we actually have to take responsibility. To not be blamed, to not be victims, to not have it being done to us. We actually have to take responsibility. Because that's a cornerstone of our teaching, isn't it? Taking responsibility. Not only for my thoughts and actions in my own life, but how those thoughts and actions impact. It took me a long time to take responsibility for bringing my reusable bags to go shopping. First, it was only grocery shopping. Now it's anywhere I go shopping. Do you know that people in Nordstrom's do not know what to do with me? I have my bag. What? Excuse me? I have my bag. Really? You want me to put it in your bag? We've sort of gotten used to it in the grocery store, right? But like in every store, everywhere. And you know that when I forget, or I'm just running in to get something and they give me a plastic bag, I feel guilty. No, don't give me a plastic bag. I will carry it out in my arms. I will. And I say to each and every clerk, oh no, I don't need plastic, save the planet. 10 years ago, they laughed at me. 5 years ago, they smirked at me. Today, they say, yes, ma'am. Save the planet. Because it's important. So now I carry straws in my purse. I have little bamboo straws. You can get, I don't like the metal thing around your teeth. I don't like that part. I've tried water bottles that are glass. They're a little heavy. Don't really like the plastic, the metal water bottles. So I look for BPA-free plastic. Carry my water bottle around. So what? I'm one person, right? What does it matter? Well, what does it matter? Like, look at the garbage dump out in the Pacific Ocean. That's all of us not doing that. Right? So if all of us did that, we wouldn't have a garbage dump out in the Pacific, would we? And we have to believe that we're participating in husbanding then as we might husband our 10-acre plot, that we're husbanding the planet. And, yeah, what we teach in our personal responsibility is thought, word, and deed, isn't it? Starts with a causal thought. That causal thought shows up in the way we speak about it, and it shows up in the way in which we act. And so are those in integrity? Are those in alignment? Are those congruent? And when we have places of withhold, right, where is that? Does it feel like sustainability is somehow delimiting our prosperity? Can we be free and prosperous inside an idea of sustainability and containing the care for our planet? Well, I wonder if we don't, what our grandchildren will inherit from us. Right? That's the question. That's where we're at. But I have an absolute belief in our ability to change consciousness, individually and collectively. And I think that we are smarter and better than we know. I think that we are more capable as beings, as human beings, as a collective human family than we have ever imagined. And we have proven it in all the ways that life is better today than it was 100 years ago. And that it is 100 years before that and 100 years before that. We have consistently been able to make life better for more and more and more people. No question that there are still pockets being left out. Those pockets are getting smaller. And life is getting better in general for most people. You can see that in the long trajectory. And so that's what we do as spiritual and conscious beings. That's what we do. We set intention. We demand that our vision and our intention, our pictures, we cultivate consciousness and we align our thoughts and our words and our deeds. Not with blame or shame, not with, you should do this to be a good person. Right? We know better than that, don't we? We know better than that. We don't do things because they make us somehow acceptable or good or, God's going to favor us in some way. We do them because it's in alignment and in integrity with the divine wisdom that is flowing as the truth of our being, which recognizes that we are part of the oneness and that what we do to any being, we do to ourselves. Because there's only one. One human family, one life, one beingness expressed through all beings. Will we do it perfectly? Probably not. But we can probably do it better than we do it now. So I'm going to ask you just to think about it for a minute, just for yourself. Just for yourself right now. I want you to think about it in your own mind. What's one thing that you can do? One thing. Maybe you buy a car that has a little bit of gas mileage. Maybe you live a little closer to work. Maybe when you take off those plastic rings off of your soda cans or beer cans, you cut open the circles so that it won't strangle a sea turtle. Maybe you'll carry around a straw. Maybe you already do all of those things. And you think, I do all those things. Fabulous, that is so great. And what's one more thing? Right? What's one more thing that we can do? Not as a burden, not as a, oh, look at me and how environmentally sensitive I am. Ooh. Not as a, well, you're not doing it. What's wrong with you? But you see, none of that works. None of that works. What works is the integrity. The integrity of recognizing that those bears that we saw, that you saw pictures of, and those eagles, and those trees, and those deer, they are as much a part of the infinite divine expression as we are, as I am. And that when I'm not caring for and about that and them, I am doing harm to myself. And beyond that, I am not caring for our future, for our children and our children's children. As the native tradition says, to the 7th generation. There's some concern right now that we don't have to the 7th generation anymore, right? And we can get all feared out, wigged out, frightened. We can put our head in the sand and say, I don't want to deal with it, I'm just going to live with my own life. Or we can say, what can I do? What's one thing that I can do? What's one thought that I can have? What's one word that I can speak? What's one act that I can act? You see, this is how we take responsibility. And this is how our responsibility is in integrity. Right? It's congruent. It's congruent from the inside out. It's congruent from our spiritual teachings to our psychological understanding, to our emotional state, to the physical actions that we take in the world. I think we pray for our planet every time that we engage with it. So that would be every moment of every day, right? Because every moment of every day we're breathing. And we're being. All right. So what I'd like to do then is I'm going to just drag up a chair here. I think I'll take the easy one to drag up. And I am going to start us off with a prayer. Now you can pray for the planet. I actually encourage you to pray for the people on the planet. Not for their well-being, but for our awakening. Whether it's political leaders or corporate leaders or economic leaders or education leaders, whether it's parents or children or workers or bosses or whomever and wherever you think some enlightenment, some awakening, maybe a new choice could be made. A new awareness could be had. Maybe you pray for the vision of humanity's ability to move through this time and to husband our planet. So we're going to do prayer together. I'm not very good at a chamber of prayer. I'm hugely auditory, and so when a lot of people are praying around me, that impacts me in a way that's very challenging. I know other people really love the chamber of prayer. So we're actually going to do this in silence.